Hey guys, and welcome back to EQ Planes, and today I'll be doing another 1 to 400 scale update of Toronto Pearson Airport. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Lining up on the runway, we have this beautiful Lufthansa 747-400. In the coming days here, I'll get a chance to fly on the Lufthansa 747-400, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. I'll be doing it for my 16th birthday. I definitely hope I get the old livery with Lufthansa rather than the new livery. Lufthansa only has one 747-400 in the new livery, meaning that I have a 7 and 8 chance of getting the old livery, which is pretty good odds. But yeah, this should be my last video before I upload the trip report for that, so stay tuned for that. And if not already obvious, this plane will be going out to Frankfurt. Here we have, holding short of the runway, this Icelandair 737 MAX 8, which will be headed out to Reykjavik today. Now, somewhat controversially, I do actually prefer Icelandair's new livery to their old livery. Their old livery was definitely a classic, but I think this was a welcomed refresh for them. Following the Icelandair 737 MAX, here we have an Emirates A380, which will be headed out to Dubai today. Here we have an Air Canada A330-300, which will be making a flight down to El Dorado today. Now here we have the Air Canada 737 MAX 8, which will be making a flight out to Edmonton today. Here is an Air Canada Express E175, which will be making a flight down to Atlanta today. Right behind him, we have this WestJet 737-800, which will be making the flight out to Winnipeg. Following him, we have this Air Canada 787-9, which is going to be making a flight out to Zurich today. Here we have United 737-800, which will be making a flight down to Denver. Definitely glad to see United painting their new livery quite quickly onto their aircraft. I'm definitely a big fan of their new livery now, and I think it's time for their old livery to go. Next up, we have this Air Transat A321neo, which will be going transatlantic today over to London Gatwick. Definitely interesting to see these transatlantic narrow-body aircraft come into Toronto with Aer Lingus, SAS, Air Transat, and others. Here we have this Air Canada Rouge A321, which will be making the flight down to Fort Lauderdale today. Here we have Air Canada's A220, which will be making the short flight over to Montreal today. Here we have the Sunwing 737-800, which will be making a flight down to Vallarta in Cuba. Next up, we have this Air Canada 777-300ER, which will be making the flight out to Athens today. Here we have Air Canada's CRJ-900, which will be making a flight out to Washington Dulles today. Right behind him, we have this Air Transat A330, which will be making a flight out to Rome today. Here we have this Volga Nipper AN-124, which has been stuck in Toronto since the start of the war in the Ukraine. I know I've been over it in a few of my videos, but for any new viewers, this aircraft is actually the exact registration of the one that's stuck in Toronto as well. So an interesting little addition to the airport updates. Here we have, sitting at the cargo stand, a FedEx MD-11, which will be making a flight out to Memphis today. Here we have the Air India 777-300ER, which has just come in from New Delhi today. Here we have an Air Canada Q400, which has just made a flight in from Thunder Bay. Parked right next to him, we have this Air Canada A321, which is just getting loaded up to make a flight out to San Francisco. Here we have the WestJet 737 MAX 8, which has just come in from Calgary today. Definitely looking forward to seeing WestJet 737 MAX 10s and hopefully their MAX 7s in the future as well. Here we have, pushing back, an American Eagle E175, which will be making the flight out to New York LaGuardia today. Here we have the Swoop 737-800, which has just made a flight in from Halifax today. And finally, here we have the Flair Airlines 737 MAX 8, which has just come in from New York JFK. Anyways, I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and hope to see you guys back next time.